During a family party, my wife disappeared. My son revealed a recording of her dancing for his best friend at that very moment in the adjacent room. As I kept watching, a wave of dread hit me. I was ready to unleash my ruthless retaliation. But my son said, "Dad, I already have a plan. We must disappear." Soon after, I received 48 calls and messages. "Come back, please." Let me start from the beginning. My name's Greg. I'm 47, married for what I thought were 22 solid years to a woman named Dana. We had one kid, Eric, our pride and joy, the kind of kid you pray for. Smart, calm under pressure, loyal like a retriever. I worked as a systems analyst. Dana ran a small but popular floral shop. On the surface, we were Pinterest perfect. People envied us. But if I've learned anything in this life, it's that rot starts where you least expect it. Dana had been acting off. Not sneaking around off, more like midlife crisis meets social media influencer off. She started dressing younger, obsessing over her phone, quoting vague nonsense about freedom, and reclaiming the fire inside. At first, I chalked it up to boredom. A phase. We all hit rough patches. But there were signs. Late-night text notifications. The sound of her phone buzzing under the pillow when she thought I was asleep. Mysterious errands that lasted just a bit too long. Ran into a friend, she'd say, or the store was packed. She once called a customer babe and laughed it off like it was nothing. It was subtle, but unmistakable. The Dana I married had sharp eyes, grounded, no nonsense, always present. Lately, her gaze had drifted, like she was seeing something behind me, something more interesting, or someone. And every time I looked at her lately, she was smiling at her phone like it was whispering sweet nothings I never could. Still, I kept the peace. I learned the hard way that confronting vague feelings with direct questions only led to rehearsed answers. After all, we had a big event coming up, my older brother's 60th birthday. Dana had taken the lead, like she always did. Decorations, music, catering, the cake, she insisted on handling it all herself. Even dragged Eric and me to 3 separate stores to feel out the energy of the plates. Normally, I'd complain. But this time, I thought, maybe she's trying. Maybe she's reconnecting with the home, with us. I wanted to believe that. The day of the party, things started smooth. Bright sun, a few clouds, laughter already echoing before noon. We set up tables in the backyard, strung up the lights, set out coolers. People started pouring in. Dana greeted everyone like the queen of the neighborhood, hugging, laughing, passing out drinks like she was floating through the crowd. But the more I watched her, the more I noticed it, the glances. She'd look at her phone between conversations, subtly angling it away from me every time. Her laugh hit a new pitch when talking to certain guests, too sharp, too eager. She touched her hair more, tilted her head a lot. Dana was always graceful, but now it felt performative, like she was on stage. At one point, she was talking to Denise's son, Eli. Tall, athletic, early 20s. She placed a hand on his arm mid-laugh, and I felt something tighten in my chest. Was I being paranoid? Maybe. But paranoia has a scent, and I was starting to catch it. Eric noticed too. I caught him watching his mom a few times with that furrowed brow he gets when something doesn't add up. He didn't say anything, just kept helping serve drinks, take photos, clean up cups. But there was a tension in his shoulders I recognized. We were both trying to solve a puzzle we hadn't been told existed. As the party rolled on into evening, Dana disappeared for a while. I didn't notice right away. I was helping my brother open gifts, laughing about old photos, retelling stories about our terrible first cars. But then I looked up and realized I hadn't seen her in at least 20 minutes. Checked the kitchen. Nothing. Upstairs. Empty. Her car was still in the driveway. I stood at the base of the stairs, listening. Silence. Not the silence of an empty house, but the kind that feels intentional. Like someone was waiting. Or hiding. I checked the bathroom, door ajar, light off. The guest room? Nothing. I even opened the closet just to be thorough, like some part of me was hoping to find her crouched in there laughing at my paranoia. She wasn't upstairs. Back in the kitchen, I passed my mother-in-law. Seen Dana? I asked, trying to sound casual. She gave me a half smile and shrugged. She was just here a bit ago. Said she had to grab something from the garage? The garage? That didn't make much sense, unless she was fixing the lawnmower mid-party, which I highly doubted. So I checked. And of course, the garage was empty. I stepped out to the side yard, looked around the fence, nothing. No cigarette breaks. No phone calls. It was like she'd slipped through the cracks. Back inside, I checked my phone. No texts. No missed calls. I scrolled for any clue. Nothing from Dana. I circled through the house again, trying not to look suspicious to the guests. Just the host making sure the recycling was taken out or whatever excuse people give themselves when they're looking for someone who should be right in front of them. Eventually, I caught Eric in the kitchen, slicing extra lemons for the drinks. His sleeves were rolled up. He looked like he wanted to say something but hadn't figured out how. "You seen your mom?" I asked, casual. He hesitated. "Just a second." But I caught it. "She was talking to someone earlier," he said slowly. Then I lost track of her. "Someone? Who?" He shrugged. "Dunno. Just looked like one of the guests." His eyes didn't quite meet mine. That's when I started to wonder if I was the only one feeling something strange in the air, or if maybe Eric already knew something I didn't. By now, the sun was dipping low. Golden hour. The kind of lighting that makes even the old folks look like movie stars in the backyard photos. The guests were starting to wind down. Kids were chasing each other with half-empty water balloons. My brother was on his third paper plate of cake. The playlist had looped for the second time, and no one cared. Dana reappeared just as suddenly as she had vanished. She came in from the side door like she'd only been outside for a breath of air. She was smiling. Too much. "Where have you been?" I asked. She blinked, like the question surprised her. "Just checking on something in the laundry room. Washing out a stain. Someone spilled on one of the runners." There was no stain. We hadn't put runners down this time. She said it was too much work for people who wouldn't notice. I remembered that conversation clearly because I'd agreed and felt relieved. But I didn't say anything. Just nodded. She brushed past me with a kiss on the cheek and a low, distracted, "You okay, babe?" And that was that. Back into the party. Back into her performance. Only now I was watching her like an outsider. She laughed at the right times. Danced a bit with my brother. Took a million photos with the relatives. But something about her felt edited. Like she was stuck in a loop of pre-planned reactions. Not fake, exactly. Just hollow. I poured myself a drink stronger than I usually go and stood alone near the back fence, watching her. Watching the way her eyes darted. Watching who she smiled at. There was one person in particular, Denise's son, Eli. He lingered near her just a little too long when she handed him a drink. I felt it again. That subtle twist in the gut. That almost a thought you try to shake off because the truth would hurt too much if it were real. But the gut doesn't lie. And neither did Eric's eyes when I caught him glancing at me again across the yard. He knew. He definitely knew something. I didn't sleep that night. Not for lack of trying. We'd cleaned up, said goodbye to the last of the family, loaded the dishwasher twice, and Dana had gone to bed early claiming she had a slight headache. Nothing unusual, not on the surface. But I couldn't shake the feeling that something had snapped under the weight of her smile that day. Eric stayed up with me a little longer. We sat in silence watching an old comedy rerun on mute, the kind we used to laugh at together. Only now, there was no laughing. Just the low hum of the fridge and the occasional flicker of a porch light outside. Eventually, he cleared his throat. "Dad," he said, slowly, "you remember when we put in the security system last year?" "Of course," I said. "Why?" He looked uncomfortable, like someone attempting surgery with barbecue tools. I checked one of the cameras today. Just routine, really. I was trying to make sure the motion sensor was working." I sat up straighter. "Okay. And?" His fingers tapped against his leg, fast, rhythmic, nervous. "There's a clip. You need to see it." I wasn't looking for anything weird, I swear. It came up in the playback. The guest room one. I froze. The guest room? We barely used it unless someone was staying over. The door had been closed all day. Eric reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, hesitated, and then passed it to me. The screen lit up. What I saw made my chest tighten like a vice. Dana. In the guest room. Music playing softly from a speaker out of frame. And she was moving in a way that felt too personal, too intentional, like she was trying to impress someone. The camera wasn't angled perfectly, but it didn't need to be. Her body faced the edge of the bed. She smiled and carried herself with a kind of playfulness I hadn't seen from her in a long time, and laughed in a way that used to be just for me. And sitting just barely in the shot, lounging like he belonged there, was Eli, Denise's son, maybe 24 at most, looking like the cat that ate the canary. My blood ran cold. I didn't say anything. I just kept watching. And it got worse. Dana leaned in and said something quietly. Her body language suggested a closeness that felt deeply inappropriate. That's when I paused it. I stared at the screen like it was going to change if I looked long enough. Like maybe I had it wrong. Maybe it was a joke, a misunderstanding, anything, but what it clearly was. Eric didn't speak. He just waited. After a long, brittle silence, I handed him back the phone. When was this? I asked. While everyone was outside during Uncle Jeff's gift thing, he said quietly. I thought she was just powdering her nose or something. I only checked because the motion alert went off. I rubbed my face, my fingers shaking. She knew there was a camera in there. I think she forgot, Eric said. Or maybe figured no one would check. I stood. There was a storm brewing inside me. But it wasn't rage. Not yet. It was calculation. What are we going to do? I asked, already forming a dozen scenarios. Eric looked up at me, calm in that eerie way he gets when things fall apart. Dad, he said, I already have a plan. He picked up his phone, opened another app, and showed me a series of screenshots, Dana's text to someone saved under a fake name, more clips pulled from other angles. The boy had done his homework. She's not just playing around, he said. It's deeper. And it's going to get messy, eh? I sank into the kitchen chair. We can't fight this out loud, he said. We need to disappear. I didn't answer him right away. There was something eerie about how calm Eric was. Not cold, just resolved. Like he'd made peace with the truth days ago, and now he was just walking me through it like a fire escape plan. You mean leave? Like pack up and vanish? He nodded. Not forever. Just enough to take control. She thinks she owns the narrative. We need to flip it before she sees it coming. It wasn't the kind of thing a father expects to hear from his son. But then again, it wasn't the kind of betrayal a father expects to discover either. So I listened. Where? I asked. I've got a friend with a place 2 hours away. Remote. Off the grid. No Wi-Fi. No curious neighbors. We can stay there. Lay low. I'll bring my laptop. Keep monitoring everything. I've already pulled the backups off the cloud. She can't erase any of it. The way he said it, matter of fact, reminded me of the way I used to prep software deployments back when I still loved my job. Clean. Calculated. No margin for error. What did we tell her? I asked. Eric tilted his head. Nothing. Just like that. He was right. If we told her, she'd spin it. She'd say I was controlling. Say it was a misunderstanding. Say I was jealous. Say he misread the situation. That she was just dancing. That I was making a mountain out of nothing. That I was unstable. The kind of woman who's ready to gaslight a camera lens doesn't need a head start. I nodded. Pack what you need, I said. Leave your phone. His mouth curled into the smallest hint of a smile. You too, Dad, he said. Burner only. I've got a couple set up already. We worked fast. I took essentials, documents, cards, clothes. Left the wedding album on the shelf, untouched. Let her wonder what that meant. Eric wiped our devices, reset the router, disabled the house alarm, and replaced it with a dummy lockout. Just enough to delay her if she tried to dig in. We were out before sunrise. As we pulled away from the house, the neighborhood still asleep, I didn't look back. And I didn't speak. It felt like morning, but sharper. Like burying someone who wasn't dead yet. By the time we reached the cabin, the world had shifted. I poured a cup of bad coffee from an ancient percolator and sat by the window while Eric unpacked his laptop and pulled up a stream of fresh data. Message logs, security footage, synced calendars. At exactly 9:13 a.m., my phone buzzed. The first call. It was Dana. I didn't pick up. By 10:07, there were 7 messages. Then 13. Then 20. By 10:07, there were 7 messages. Then 13. Then 20. Each one more frantic than the last. Greg, please call me. Where are you? I know this looks bad. I can explain everything. Eric's not answering either. What is going on? Please, just come home. This isn't what it seems. Classic. The denial phase, followed quickly by frantic damage control. Her messages came like machine gun fire, punctuated by nervous calls that rang out and died unanswered. I left my phone face down on the table and listened to the buzz and hum like it was white noise in some therapist waiting room. Eric sat across from me at the small kitchen table of the cabin, laptop open, spreadsheets and screenshots displayed like a courtroom exhibit. His face was stone, focused. I hadn't seen that look since he was 13 and dissecting his first chess match loss for weaknesses. She's trying to figure out how much we know, he said without looking up. Notice how she hasn't mentioned what it looks bad for? No specifics. She's still hoping this is about something else. I gave a grim nod. Because the moment she says the wrong thing, she confirms it. She's baiting us. Seeing if we flinch. Greg, this is crazy. Why are you doing this? Whatever Eric told you, it's not true. He's just being dramatic. That one made Eric scoff under his breath. She's aiming for divide and conquer, he said. Trying to peel you off from me. Classic. He wasn't wrong. That was Dana's strategy whenever things got tense. Find the weak link, apply pressure, deny, dismiss, distract. Only now, her little triangle had collapsed. The man she once used to keep our family glued together was now the one helping me take it apart. She'll probably go for sympathy next, I said, mostly to myself. I was right. By 11:30, the tone shifted. I miss you. Please, can we just talk? You're scaring me now. I just want to come home. I want to fix this. Fix this. Those words echoed in my head like a cracked bell. It wasn't an apology. Not once had she written, I'm sorry. Not once had she said, I was wrong. Just fix. Dana didn't want to repair the relationship. She wanted to control the narrative. Eric muted his laptop notifications and finally leaned back. She's going to try the nuclear option soon, he said. Which one's that? I asked. He's unstable move. Call the cops. Say she's worried. Paint herself as the concerned wife, you as the paranoid husband who took off in the middle of the night. Maybe toss in a line about you being emotionally unwell. You know, get ahead of the facts. I sighed and rubbed my temples. I wouldn't put it past her. We were buying time, but we'd need to do more than hide. We needed receipts. Leverage. Something so airtight even her best friend wouldn't believe her when she started crying in the group chat. So I opened the black notebook I'd packed. In it, I started listing everything. Timelines. Behaviors. Expenses. Gaps. Names. I'd always been the quiet one in the relationship. The safe, predictable guy. Not confrontational. Not dramatic. But now I was realizing what Dana had mistaken for weakness was actually patience. And patience, when finally activated, becomes precision. I called my old buddy Dean, one of those attorneys who looks like a tired accountant but writes emails that make CEOs cry. Told him I might need a legal mop-up operation soon. He didn't even ask why. Send me what you've got, he said. Make sure you're staying somewhere with no legal ties to the house. She'll try to claim abandonment if you're not careful. Eric grinned when I relayed that part. Told you she'd play the long game. By 1 p.m., Dana's tone had shifted again. Are you really going to throw away everything over a little misunderstanding? You're embarrassing yourself. Greg, grow up. This is childish. There it was. Phase 3, the ridicule. The moment the gaslighting kicks in full throttle. She was now pretending it was no big deal. Like I'd stormed off over a burned pie or a dirty joke at the party. No mention of Eli. No mention of the video. Just a performance for whatever story she was writing in her head. She's spiraling, Eric said flatly. Won't be long now before she starts texting my friends. Trying to track us. I looked down at my hands. They weren't shaking anymore. I don't want to just respond, I said. I want to define this story. I want to leave a trail that doesn't just prove she lied, but proves that I never stooped to her level. Eric nodded. Then we do it by the book. And just like that, we started writing our next move, not in rage, not in panic, but with clarity. The next morning, Eric and I sat on the porch of the cabin with steaming mugs of instant coffee, watching fog crawl across the tree line like it had secrets to hide. My phone had stopped buzzing sometime around 3 a.m. I didn't check the messages. I already knew the pattern. That was the beauty and curse of being married to someone for over 2 decades. You learn their rhythms, their tactics. You can practically hear the gears clicking behind their voice, even when they're silent. And Dana? She was spinning like a top in an empty room, chasing her own echo. We'd been off the grid for a full 36 hours. No contact, no reactions. She didn't know if I'd left her, if I was watching her, if Eric was with me or running away from both of us. She was unanchored. That's when people start reaching. And reach she did. By the time I powered up my burner phone to check in with Dean, I had 2 voicemails, not from Dana. From Denise. Yeah, that Denise. Dana's best friend since college. The one who always insisted I was too intense for Dana. The one who once referred to me as Greg the Spreadsheet. I guess I should have seen the shift coming when she started inviting Dana to girls' weekends that involved more makeup than luggage. Her message was syrup sweet. Hey Greg, it's Denise. Not sure what's going on, but Dana's really upset. She said you left? With Eric? Look, I'm sure it's just a misunderstanding, but we're all worried. Maybe you can just give her a quick call. The second one wasn't sweet. Greg, this is ridiculous. You need to come home and talk to your wife like a man. This isn't how mature adults handle things. There it was. The mask slipping. I didn't call her back. I forwarded both voicemails to Dean. Good, he replied. Let her team show their teeth early. They're trying to bait you into looking unstable. Don't bite. I didn't. But I did decide to pull a string of my own. Remember the guest room video? We hadn't done anything with it yet. It was just sitting there in our digital vault. But I had no intention of posting anything publicly or blowing up her social circle. No, that wasn't my style. I wanted plausible pressure. I wanted Dana to know I was watching, but without leaving fingerprints. So I called her flower shop. A part-timer named Megan answered. Young, probably new. I kept it simple. Hi, this is Greg, Dana's husband. Just checking if she came in today. We're trying to reschedule a delivery she handled last week. Megan paused. She hasn't been in all day. She was supposed to come in this morning, but said she wasn't feeling well. Interesting. I thanked her and hung up. Called in sick, I told Eric. Probably can't hold it together in front of customers. He nodded. She's unraveling. We decided to give the video a gentle nudge, not online, not to her friends. Just to her. A copy. No context. No threat. Eric drafted an anonymous email account and sent it straight to her personal inbox with no message, no subject. Just the footage. Then we waited. Then her first message in 6 hours lit up my burner screen. Greg, please just talk to me. I showed it to Eric. He raised one eyebrow. Boom. More messages followed in a flood. Greg, I didn't mean for it to be like that. I swear, it's not what it looks like. I didn't do anything. I was just messing around. We were just laughing. It wasn't serious. You're blowing this out of proportion. Ah, there it was. The self-preservation script. The act of minimizing the wound she created while pretending she was bleeding too. Eric leaned back in his chair. Next phase. Next phase, I said, standing up. Time to start making some moves. While Dana kept texting me, I started taking steps to ensure there was nothing left for her to hang on to. The first thing I did was call the bank. I wasn't stupid. I knew our finances had cracked. She thought I wasn't watching. A few months ago, Dana had insisted on simplifying some of our joint accounts, making suggestions about automated bill pay and shared cards for easier tracking. At the time, I thought it was just her being her. Now I realized she was testing how close she could move things to her side without me noticing. I froze every joint account. Then I moved half of our savings, my savings, into an individual high-yield account I'd opened in my name only. Dean, my lawyer friend, had coached me through the whole thing. Keep the paperwork neat, he said. She's going to say you're retaliating. Don't give her a reason to be right. You're protecting yourself. I also revoked her access to the digital vault where our taxes, insurance, and house documents lived. Changed the passwords, rerouted the recovery contacts, and replaced her emergency contact in my company profile from her to Eric. That was symbolic. And strategic. She's going to find out, Eric said as he watched me click through each lockout. I smiled. That's the point. And she did find out. Greg, I can't access the account. Did you do something? This is petty. This is controlling. I hope you realize that. There it was. The legal buzzword shotgun. Let her scream it. Dean told me over the phone that night. Let her tell everyone you're a monster. You've already got the proof on video, plus the messages, plus the timing. All you have to do is not lose your temper. So I didn't. Instead, I documented everything. Screenshots, timestamps, logs. I was building a portfolio, not just a case. Meanwhile, Eric had his own project. He compiled a timeline, 2 months long, of Dana's inconsistencies. Times she said she was out shopping, but her car's GPS said otherwise. Receipts she left behind. Transactions tied to gift cards we never bought. He even found a restaurant reservation she made under a different name. One of those upscale spots downtown, the kind you need to book 2 weeks in advance. The same night she told me she had a migraine and went to bed at 7:15 p.m. with a heating pad on her forehead. It was almost laughable. Eric printed the receipt and pinned it to a corkboard we brought with us from the garage, right next to a still image from the guest room video. This is who she's become, he said. And I believed him. I'd been in love with a woman who no longer existed. That night, I sat outside the cabin while Eric went to bed. The air was cold. Still, I watched the mist swirl around the pine trees and let my thoughts settle into something quieter than rage. Grief. 3 days after we vanished, Dana cracked. Not quietly. I woke up to 15 missed calls, all from an unfamiliar number, her sister's, I later found out. The voicemail started off with restrained panic and ended with full-blown hysteria. Greg, you can't just ghost your own family. You're acting unstable. I'm going to have to call someone if this keeps up. Please. We need to talk before this gets out of hand. Out of hand. Interesting choice of words, considering her hand had been in someone else's lap. I didn't respond. Instead, I called Dean. He'd already drafted the opening salvo, a formal petition for separation with attached supporting documentation. We weren't filing it yet. That wasn't the move. Not yet. We were going to serve her information first. That's where Eric came in. He compiled a digital folder, labeled neatly with her full name containing the guest room video, screenshots of her messages to Eli, a timeline of her inconsistencies, a copy of the restaurant receipt, a document listing every financial transfer I'd made, complete with timestamps and legal notes. Eric uploaded it to a private, view-only folder. Then we sent Dana the link. One email. No subject. Just, this is what I know. If you want to talk, go through Dean. Within 5 minutes, my phone vibrated. I didn't answer. Instead, I watched the access log on the shared folder. She opened it, then reopened it, then downloaded everything. After that, there was silence. The kind of silence that told me reality had finally cut through her performance. She'd spent the last 3 days crafting a version of events she could sell, probably to Denise, probably to her mother, probably even to herself. But now she knew what I had. She couldn't twist it, couldn't bury it. That afternoon, I got a text from an unknown number. It was Eli. Hey, can we talk? I didn't mean for any of this to blow up like it did. I showed it to Eric. He burst out laughing. Well, he thinks he's the victim now? Let him, I said. That kid's a detail, not a threat. We didn't respond. He messaged again an hour later. I blocked the number. Later that night, Dana finally tried the direct apology route. Greg, I made a mistake. I was confused. I didn't plan to hurt you. We've been distant for a while. I thought maybe I could just feel something again. Please, can we talk just once? One honest conversation. There was no mention of Eli anymore. No more justifications. Just noise trying to sound like remorse. I read it once. Then I archived it. She wanted a confrontation? She was going to get one. But not face to face. I was setting a table she'd have to sit at. One where I controlled the menu, the lighting, and the guest list. And the main course? The truth. It happened exactly 1 week after we disappeared. Dana thought she was walking into a reconciliation. We let her believe that. Dean reached out through formal channels. Told her I'd agreed to meet for dinner, neutral location, her choice of restaurant, 1 hour only, no lawyers, just a civil conversation. She took the bait so fast I almost felt sorry for her. Eric and I arrived early. We picked a quiet spot in the corner of the restaurant, a place with soft lighting, white tablecloths, and just enough privacy for the truth to breathe without whispering. Dana arrived 10 minutes late. She walked in wearing her "I'm still desirable" outfit, hair perfect, blouse fitted, makeup soft enough to look like she wasn't trying. But I knew the look. I'd seen it on her before weddings, before interviews, before seductions. She sat down across from me like we were equals. Greg, she said, her voice gentle, almost rehearsed. Thank you for coming. I didn't respond. Just opened the folder I brought and laid it between us. The first page, a printed still from the guest room video. Her smile didn't break, but her eyes flinched. What is this? She asked, still playing dumb. I turned the page. Receipts. Transcripts. GPS logs. Her confidence drained faster than a busted pipe. Greg, she said, voice sharper now. This is obsessive. You went through my stuff? No, I said calmly. I went through our stuff. You just forgot it wasn't yours alone. She looked down. Her fingers clenched the edge of the tablecloth. I didn't do anything with him. I stared at her. I didn't ask. Silence stretched between us. Long tense. You were never around, she finally snapped, anger replacing the fragile act. You buried yourself in work. You never noticed when I needed something more. I leaned forward, voice low. You entertained a 24-year-old guest in the guest room of our home, Dana, while our family was in the backyard, while your son was pouring drinks for your guests. So don't talk to me about being absent. She blinked fast. Her mascara was starting to clump. It wasn't what you think. It never is. The waiter came by and Dana ordered a drink with shaking hands. I didn't order anything. She tried again. We can get past this. Greg, we've been through worse. Remember when I lost the shop lease? When we almost lost the house. We made it through. No, I said. I made it through. You just followed. The drink arrived. She didn't touch it. I stood, pulled a sealed envelope from the folder, and placed it in front of her. What is this? Separation paperwork. Dean says if you're smart, you'll sign before it gets ugly. Her jaw tightened. You're throwing away 22 years over one stupid mistake? I stared at her. No, Dana. You threw it away. I'm just cleaning up the mess. Then I walked out. I didn't look back when I left the restaurant. Didn't wait to see if she'd cry or storm out or call someone to come rescue her narrative. I'd already seen everything I needed to. The next morning, she messaged again. Not to fight. To beg. I'll sign. I just need a few days to move some things around. Please don't go through with this yet. We can go to therapy. I'll go alone if you don't want to. Just, please, don't throw me away like this. There it was. That final stage. Not remorse. Not accountability. Just desperation, the kind that kicks in when someone realizes the game is finally over and they're out of moves. But the truth was, I wasn't throwing her away. She'd already thrown herself into someone else's arms and danced there without shame. I was just turning off the lights. Eric and I returned home later that week. The house was silent, like it had exhaled while we were gone. I walked through each room, letting the dust settle in my mind. My home. My space. The marriage was over. But the story? That was mine now. I filed the paperwork. I kept the video, the receipts, the logs, not for payback, not anymore. I kept them for clarity, as proof that I wasn't imagining things. As a reminder that not all betrayals wear red lipstick and perfume. Some show up with smiles, inside jokes, and party playlists. Dana signed everything within 2 days. No fight. No lawyer letters. She moved out 2 weeks later. Took her things in neatly labeled boxes. Left behind a pair of shoes, a drawer full of scarves, and a note that said, I wish things had been different. They had been. She just didn't realize it until too late. Eric stayed with me for a while. We built new routines, takeout nights, long hikes, more laughter than we'd had in years. He asked me once if I regretted not confronting her earlier. I told him the truth. No. Because now I know exactly who she became and exactly who I am without her.